Another day, another video. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are watching Westworld. It's episode 3 of the first season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and this is my third of the day. Yes, really enjoying it myself, as you can see. If you'd like to watch the full episode, this is available for free in the link in the description below. Just click on it, put the password in, and enjoy. So really getting intrigued and interested into the storyline, and I'm trying to pick up on characters' names. I'm not the best at that, but so far I picked up on Ford. Is he the guy that created this world? Then you've got is it Ben or something? He's the other guy who's actually upgrading and updating the programs. You've got, is it Clementine? She's one of the girls that work in the bar. Maeve, we had her last episode. She's the one that started to dream / have flashbacks and memories. And then obviously Dolores, who was in the first episode. And I don't know what the guy walking around in black's called. But he's the one that's trying to level up, and he's trying to find this maze. So I think it's really, really interesting. It's getting the mind working. And Maeve, she actually was awakened or whatever you want to call it, into the present modern day society. Do you know what I mean? Like she was in the park. Dolores spoken to her. She said the quote. She started remembering. She started thinking. She was talking about dreaming back into the real world. They was talking, saying that they shouldn't really be dreaming. Imagine if they could remember all of the things that the guests do to them in the park. It'd be chaos. Then obviously she was going to get decommissioned because she wasn't actually doing her job properly, what she was serviced to do in the park. And as she was going through an examination, they determined that maybe the maintenance team didn't actually do some proper work on her. So for example, and actually clean her properly. And they was doing a procedure. So she was laying a gurney. She was getting cut open, and she awoke. They was panicking. He was like, mate, we put her in sleep mode. She ended up getting a scalp and going to stab some of them before running off and running through the building. Before she's seen one of the dudes. Again, names, I can't remember who we see in the first episode that's kind of going out with Dolores. Him in the park was shot by one of the guests a couple of times, and she's seen his dead body kind of pinned up against the wall. So in her head, she's probably thinking, what is going on, before they come and injected her and put her back to sleep. They create these bodies obviously in the labs, and then they put them into the park, but they don't really realise that they are the subjects. Now, again, it's interesting to see the people that are coming and visiting. Some people are there for just chaos, you know what I mean? Some people are there for like holidays. We've seen 2 of the lads that was introduced. One has been there, it seems, multiple times. The other one, he just brought his friend from work. He says he's excited to see where he becomes and the person that he's bound to be. So again, I thought that was good as well. And he was the person that picked up the can and give it to Dolores, instead of, obviously, like I said, the guy that was shot a couple of times, her boyfriend, in the first episode. So I mean, I think it's really, really intriguing. We've played out the same storyline a couple of times, but in different scenarios with different people as well. I'm still trying to figure out what the guy in black's doing. He's kind of like going around on the horse. He's trying to level up. He's trying to get this maze, and I don't know what his end goal and objective is, but he gives us a couple of good scenes and a good standoff and a good fights. So I personally think it's really exciting. Somebody's definitely infiltrating it from the outside for the inside, and with the code. Someone's got a higher game at play, and I don't know what it is that they're trying to intend, but I'm excited and I can't wait to watch today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too. If you do, please smash the like, really helps out. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, let's jump in to episode 3 of the first season of Westworld.
Good morning, Dolores. Bring yourself back online. Has anyone else interacted with you in a diagnostic since our last conversation?
No.
I brought you a gift.
Why is he having private conversations?
This story to my son at night.
Dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changed in the night.
Does that passage make you think of anything?
And it's like the other books we've read. It's about change. Your son, where is he now?
Is he in the
I'm
park?
aware that you would understand, Dolores.
I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. But if I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the
Oh
world
my.
am I?
Done that on purpose, hasn't he? She referenced, again, man, we use the same scene of waking up again. Let's get a bit clearer. Like, she said, books over books that you've given me. So like the guy's done that multiple times, and how's nobody seen him take her out of the park? Do you know what I mean? And like I said, everybody else that we've seen have conversations, they're all naked, and she's fully clothed. So I don't really know, like, why is she so special? Do you know what I mean? Why is he focusing on her? Is he the person that's putting the code in and he's seeing if it's working, and he keeps asking the questions to see if it's advancing? Or is he just generally intrigued with her as a physical person? Oh, she found that in the dirt, didn't she? Last episode.
Do you remember?
Why don't we reacquaint ourselves, Dolores?
Morning, cowboy.
Stand right there. You really ought to talk to someone about your poster, Horace.
300, look at that. Oh, he's escaping. She's actually been shot. Well done. Unlimited health, aren't they?
Looking for desperados. Could cut you in if you're amenable.
Mate, it'd be so sick if you couldn't die. It'd be so fun.
What's left of the deputy?
That's the second kiss she's giving him.
She said we couldn't get shot.
You can't get killed. It won't be much of a game if they can't shoot back.
Well, you've been preaching nonstop about all the narratives in the park, but all you've done since we've arrived is fuck and drink. Stay here. I want a little adventure.
Ford taking over the narrative launch at the 11th hour has made the board uneasy. As of this morning, Ford's carved out a huge swath of the park and thrown half of the existing storylines into disarray. Get your house in order, Bernard. If there is a problem, I strongly suggest you tell me.
You didn't report the incident?
Oh, it's Trevor.
Within the acceptable window.
Do you see that? He's talking to someone. He carries on practically an entire conversation. Who's Arnold?
Yeah, go on. Who's the stray one?
Stray. QA needs a tag team to go track it.
Go. Handle the stray.
Talk about games. He's involved in the biggest game of all time. Trevor sat down on that chair there.
Lost another one, huh? Tell me, is Q-based surveillance coverage really this spotty, or you just like the nature walks? You know, if you wanted to play cowboy, you could have just used your employee discount.
No offense, but I sleep with this.
I bet you do.
That's actually so very true. Isn't it? If you think about it, that's so very true. The only thing that's stopping them from actually being hurt is a code that they put in. So they probably put in that they got fake bullets or something. Just in, do you know what I mean, in the coding. But if that wasn't there and he picks up a real gun, bang, dead. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, I was thinking then, they go into the park as a real human, not as part of the game. Or I keep calling it a game, but if they get shot while they're hunting down the stray, do they die? Do you know what I mean? Are they different to the guests that come in it? That's an interesting one.
You and your dickless associate proposing to engage me in a gun battle.
Why are we gonna handcuff a dead man?
I want someone walking off with him. It's not a man anymore. That's merchandise. $500 worth.
See, she remembers him being dead last episode.
For your troubles.
She does remember him. There, against the thing. I knew it, mate. I knew it. Yo, it's a different side of the can now.
Just trying to look chivalrous.
You gonna tell me where you've been?
Away? You know, if I could stay right here with you, I would.
You've traveled all over these parts. Isn't there anywhere we could go?
I heard about down south, where the mountains meet the sea.
I'd like to go there with you.
Well, someday I'll take you.
You said someday, not today or tomorrow. Someday sounds a lot like the thing people say when they actually mean never.
Before I met you, Dolores, I was a different man. And I got some reckoning to do before I can deserve a woman like you.
He just said, right, someday. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week. Someday is what people say when they mean never. I disagree. I do disagree with that one. You know, someday I want to go to Australia. That's a fact. That really is a fact. One, because it looks cool. And two, because it's literally the furthest country away from my possible location. It literally takes me like 24 hours on a plane to get there from where I live. So, like, someday I want to go and visit that country. But it doesn't mean that just because I don't have plans today, tomorrow, next week, or next month, or next year, you know what I mean? I have to save up and have plans. One day, it will happen. But just because I haven't got a little distance or time frame that I could nail down right now, don't mean that's never. And do you know what I mean? That's what she was saying. I thought it was like something that was clicking in her head, that she's like, oh, we don't usually say someday, or whatever's. But no, she was just like, oh, it pretty much sounds like never. I wonder if her dad's gonna die. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, they're creating an eye. Sick, that, innit?
Your job is not to protect Dolores, it's to keep her here. To ensure that the guests find her
if they want to best the stalwart gunslinger, your mysterious backstory. It's the reason for my visit, as we never actually bothered to give you one, just a formless guilt you will never atone for. Perhaps it is time you had a worthy story. Would you like that, Eddie? A fiction which, like all great stories, starts in a time of war. You remember now.
Is he implanting him a story?
I remember Wyatt.
That's sick.
Wyatt was a sergeant, went missing while out on some maneuvers, and back a few weeks later, some pretty strange ideas.
Also, how good that he implanted a story in his mind then. I want to know what this is as well, man. Why do we keep seeing this, the needle spinning and the like cold running?
A friend here is new to town. Figured the rancher's daughter would be a nice way to kick things off.
You might get the draw on me, you might not, but I'd say your odds ain't looking good.
I told you I wanted something easy.
She ain't worth the lead. Said to Virgil's.
I can't.
Oh, she's not programmed to be able to shoot it.
Some hands were meant to pull a trigger.
Teddy, we got another bounty.
I think this may be the man you've been looking for quite some time. Man named Wyatt. Word is, Flood here is the only man ever come up against him, lived to tell the tale.
You know, if I could stay right here with you, I would.
Must make you come back.
It's interesting how they've just added a new storyline in though, and it's like already in the game. Other characters know about it.
Spend more time on your back than a hooker in heat. Now pick up that fucking axe and go chop us.
So, after our stray ran away from camp, looks like these guys got caught in a loop.
The rest of them can't even touch it.
Weapons privileges need to be doled out selectively.
Backstories do more than amuse guests. They anchor the host. The rest of their identity is built around it, layer by layer.
This looks like shit.
Oh, do you reckon it's a code or something?
Wyatt's got him so twisted around, they'll do anything for him. Pain don't slow them. They don't fear death. They reckon they've already died and gone to hell. Came back with some strange ideas. This land didn't belong to the old natives or the new settlers. It belonged to something that had yet to come. It belonged to him.
If ever the devil walked the earth.
He's not a man, but he's not a devil either. The devil can't be killed. It's exactly what I aim to do to Wyatt.
There's no way he's alive.
Take cover! Wyatt's been recruiting. Sheriff, the only chance you have is I draw their fire. Lead them up into the hills. You can make it back to town. Try and find help.
I like how they got a backstory though. It's interesting. It's funny how we're doubling down on it and gone into it. He's only just been given it this episode as well.
I plotted a line from the work camp to our present location. Markings on its shell, like stars. Orion, right?
What are you, Gala fucking Leo?
Give me one moment, Bernard. Why is this host covered? He wanted to cover his modesty. Doesn't get cold. Doesn't feel ashamed.
See, the thing is, yeah, as you just seen there, he's mad, or whatever you want to call it, that the guy's covered up. And he's obviously uncovered him, so they don't feel the cold. But when Dolores is speaking to, you know, that guy 2 times, she's been fully dressed. Now, whether it's because, you know, he doesn't himself want to see her naked, that could quite possibly literally be the answer, to be honest, because he's brought her in to have a general conversation. It's different to like when you're doing a system diagnostic / you know what I mean, creating one of the characters. Obviously the full body's there, but like he's treating her as like a full-on person, isn't he? Trying to understand her, trying to see what's going on in her head, having a full-blown conversation, giving her books. In his head he's like, do you know what I mean? I don't want to not degrade her down to that, but do you know what I mean? I just literally want her to be her, and that's why she's fully clothed. But again, I did pick up on it because it is noticeable when everybody else is naked and she's the only one from the park that's not. It's like, why? And do you know what I mean? It you know, it would be interesting to find out that answer later on.
I thought we had agreed to put these questions to rest.
What if we misdiagnosed the original problem? They were talking to the same imaginary person. Due respect, sir, I'm not sure you've told me the entire truth about this situation.
I did tell you the truth, Bernard. For 3 years, we lived here in the park, refining the host. Myself, a team of engineers, and my partner.
You had a partner?
Yeah. My business partners were more than happy to scrub him from the records, and I suppose I didn't discourage them. A host began to pass the Turing test after the first year. He wanted the real thing. He wanted to create consciousness. He imagined it as a pyramid.
And at the top?
But he had a notion of what it might be. He based it on a theory of consciousness called the bicameral mind. See, Arnold built a version of their cognition in which the hosts heard their programming as an inner monologue. One that in this place, the last thing you want the hosts to be is conscious. We abandoned the approach. The only vestiges that remain are the voice commands we use to control them.
Some of them are remembering, accessing fragments of Arnold's code. What happened to him?
Well, he died here in the park. In his alienation, he saw something in them. He saw something that wasn't there. The update should prevent any further voices, but you will let me know if any of the hosts exhibit any unusual behavior, won't you, Bernard? They're not conscious. You mustn't make Arnold's mistake. Know that the death of your son, Charlie, still weighs heavily on you.
You're always so busy. I suppose I'm glad for you. Still feels unreal to me.
For a split second, I forget where I am. And I reach over, half expecting to find him there next to me.
Remember how you used to sleep? Do you ever wish you could forget?
No, you would never want to forget your son, would you?
His pain is all I have left of him.
My gathering the understanding that Dolores, when she was painting, the kid that come over to her to speak to her, who said, "You're not real, you're not one of the real ones," or whatever, that's his son. That's Bernard's son. That's what I thought anyway. Well, I didn't know at the time, but then I think I seen a picture last episode and I was like, is that kid? And then seeing more clips of him then, I feel like it was. So I feel like his son's died, but he's created like a skin and put it into the park. And he may be using Dolores because she might be more advanced than the other people to like talk to her and evaluate her and see if she can start gaining a conscience or remembering things slash I don't know, becoming, say, normal, because maybe his intentions is to make these people as real as possible. Because like I still go back to the first episode when the guy was saying there's a line, the holes in the do you know what I mean, the guests know they're a guest, and he's trying to blend them together. Because he lost his son and obviously he's put him into the part, you might be trying to create it so it's so realistic, like that Arnold, is that what he said he was called a minute ago? That Arnold did because he wants to get his son back. Maybe that's what's going on. Also, the Arnold storyline is quite interesting. I'm saying that that's the Man in Black. I'm going to throw that out there right now. I'm saying that the person that he was talking about who first set up this park with, I forgot his name now, Ford, that's it, is the Man in Black that's going around that's trying to get to the maze to win. I don't know. They created that pyramid, didn't they, like that? And he was saying the things that was going through. I feel like that's him, man. I do. He said he's been doing it for 30 years. You know what I mean? That guy in his flashback probably looked 30 years younger, so that's what I'm saying anyway. I'm saying that the Man in Black is the guy that created the park. He's trying to get to the maze, and he's trying to speak to Dolores because he's trying to see if consciously that he could do something so he can help try and relive or bring his son back.
Why the hell would he carve Orion?
You're the ones who programmed him.
He wasn't programmed to give a shit about stars. Stop! Over here!
Wow, they look scary then, don't they? Loads of them.
Yeah, go! I'll hold them off as long as I can.
Wow, that's fast shooting that.
This is bullshit.
They hosts.
I can
I
have
mean,
a retrieval team out here in the morning. We found the stray up here, but I don't think it got here by accident. It's as if he got an idea in his head, one that we never programmed.
Bring yourself back online. Being selfish, but I think it would be better if I restored you to the way you were before. It was all scripted responses, improvisation only.
I'm trying, but I still don't understand. There aren't two versions of me. There's only one. And I think when I discover who I am, I'll be free. Have I done something wrong? Made a mistake?
Evolution forged the entirety of sentient life on this planet using only one tool. Mistake. It appears you're in good company. Never tell you about the time I taught Charlie to swim while practicing his kicks. He was too scared to let go, and I was too scared to let him. But I had to. That's what parents do. See where this path leads. And you won't tell anyone about our conversations.
No.
You should be getting back to Dolores.
Thing is, though, it's beneficial for her to keep playing along because she's getting answers as well. Slow and steady, but you know what I mean? It's helping her advance.
Are you gonna ride back up into the hills to look for him?
I sent for the Rangers. We'll go back up there in force as soon as they get here. In truth, if there is a merciful God, those men are dead already.
There's 3 of them up there, just seen it. It's a different dad, isn't it? Look.
No daddy, no cowboy, no one here to interrupt us this time.
Second time. Oh, look, someone else. Taking her in there. Can she pull the trigger, though? It's not on a code, is it?
Why don't we reacquaint ourselves, Dolores? Start at the beginning.
Oh, is that guy getting in ahead? Maybe changing the code? Who knows, mate? I don't know. Oh, he shot her. Wait, she's not shot now? Can she just use her mind to change what's happening? Yo, that was interesting, that. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, though. Like, how did she just get shot and then not get shot?
Security even approve you to carry that thing?
We just need his head and we're done.
Fucking hell, mate.
Stop!
How's he awoken with no pain? What's just happened there? Like, why is that guy? Well, first of all, sleep mode's clearly not working anymore because it happened to Maeve last episode and she awoken when a procedure was happening to her. And it's happened to this dude here. Again, he's awoken when he's getting his neck cut off. But why is he awoke, climbed up and then committed suicide? Like, I don't understand that. And I do think it's interesting in terms of if you follow the little things that they say, you know, he said before that, what she said, why can't somebody else light a fire or something or chop wood? And then he was saying, look, mate, you know, only one person's authorised to pick up that axe, to pick up the weapon. Do you know what I mean? I was saying smart. It is smart. Not everybody can get it and start attacking everybody. That's why when she was in the forest and she was trying to shoot that log thing, she was saying I can't. And he was saying, oh, yeah, you know, it's not meant for all of us. And I was like, no, mate, she just physically can't. She's not programmed to. But then you see it here. She got through into that barn and she was trying to pull the trigger again and she couldn't. But then the man in black showed up and said, kill him. Do you know, oh, let's start again or something, and walked over to her. Then she heard the voice. You know, it was like somebody speaking to him, which I'm saying is Arnold. Kill him. Boom. She was able to shoot the gun. Do you know what I mean? And then she's gone to the house and then she was shot. And then she thought, no, I'm not shot. It's that. And then she wasn't. And then she got on a horse and drove off or ran off, whatever you want to call it. So it's like, is this Arnold able to be in the park and infect the heads and write its own code within that so that it could change the reality of the game or the park as it goes? It is interesting. I just don't really know why they're self-destructing that guy just then.
Jesus, I can't believe I let you talk me into this. 40K a day to jerk off alone in the woods.
40K?
Thank fuck. Anything to relieve the boredom.
Another interesting episode, to be honest. I do think we've had 3 good ones. Mate, they're on for an hour long. Literally 1 hour long. That's a mooch, that, innit? 3 hours I've sat here and watched this today. Been very intrigued, that's why. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed it. Again, you know, one thing I've got to keep saying, I keep calling it a game, and it's the park. What is it? A world? I don't really know. I class it as a game because all the stuff that you can do in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, people pay and they come in, and within this they could do missions and bounty hunt and just have a good time and like side quests and stuff. I don't know. I do feel like it's some sort of game, and that's why it's just stuck in my head that I keep saying that. I do know it's a park though, and people pay 40k a day. Do you know what I mean? That's literally crazy. That's so much money. No wonder they've got that mad tech facility thing. And they've got a board that they want to please. You know what I mean? They must be raking it in. But the interesting thing is, obviously, the story that we're kind of being told here is that Ford created this place with, obviously, another guy. Now, this other guy's died. It's drove him insane or whatever. His vision of the park was pretty much to try and make things as realistic as possible. And that kind of reminds me the same as Bernard's. Like, he, in my personal opinion, was also trying to make the characters realistic as possible. And that's why at the end he was saying to him there, mate, look, don't make the same mistake and make it believe that they're the same as us, because they're not. That's what he was saying. But again, the other interesting thing is, you know, there is a code that's going around which is giving them the same memories, and like they're all having their own different memories in terms of what they're remembering. They're remembering previous previous characters that they've had inside of the game, but they're also all kind of speaking and listening to the same person, which is that Arnold. Do you know what I mean? When we seen that little footage of the guy, he was having a full-on conversation with him, and like he was saying, you know, it seems like it's a recurring thing with them, and then that was why it led to the story of how the park was obviously created by like two guys, and they've done it for 3 years, and it was great because it was just then there was no visitors, it was just them using the codes and just creating and, you know, making the skins and the bodies and getting them to move and all that, which would be interesting. And now it's been open up for like 30 years. Do you know what I mean? And if you, like you say, you go to the last episode when he was looking to find the answers to where the entrance to the maze was, he was saying he's been in this park for 30 years. And the guy that was obviously involved in climbing down the cliff abseiling was saying, look, mate, you know, this guy, whatever he wants, he can have it. He's a VIP, do you know what I mean, so to speak. He's been playing for so long. As long as he stays on script, it's cool. And I'm thinking that he may be part of it. But also, the interesting thing is, you know, he... in the first episode, dragged Dolores into that thing, and he didn't kill his dad, did he? The dad. He killed the people that killed the dad, but then dragged her into there. We never really seen what happened. And then obviously we've seen the chaos last episode, but then this one, he's turned up. But it was somebody else that dragged her in the barn, but then she managed to envision him, and then he was like, look, let's start again, and walked over with a knife, but then she had a voice, like the basilisk, kill, and then she was able to kill and shoot the weapon. So I thought it was really interesting. Mate, I can imagine so many people actually watch this program. I have no idea what's going on, or like be able to follow it at all, because you do have to use your mind quite a bit, to be honest, to try and figure out, you know, like who is who and what's the loop and what's actually happening. Do you know what I mean? Because they do recur the same thing over and over again. How many times have we seen her turn up to the house? Different times in different situations, different things have been happening. This time, her dad, she managed to see was different. Her mum's kind of alive in this one, but like when she first went there in the first episode, the mum's already dead that was on the floor. Do you know what I mean? And I think on the first time, there was two people in the house, you know, the guy, Trevor, whatever, and the guy pouring the milk. But then this time when they've gone there, they had him, you had another guy who said that, do you want to sleep with her? And he was like, nah, she looks scared. And like two other people in the house. So like, the same scenarios happen, but more people increases, and like, I don't know, the situations occur as well, but differently in certain times. So you got to keep following it and keep going and understand that it is a loop, and they are programmed to do it that way, and they're there for, you know, apparently each day the memories get wiped, just like 31st dates or whatever it is, you know, with Adam Sandler. Is it 51st dates? She forgets every day, and she just relives the same one consistently. That's kind of like the same thing here. They just do the day, forget, reset, start again, but now they're remembering. Okay, and that's going to wrap up the third episode of the first season of Westworld. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. So again, I thought it was really interesting. I actually like the concept, to be honest, how you can go into the park and do whatever you want, but also I do think it would be scary. Now I'm interested with these two guys, to be honest, at the very end there. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're obviously well, they've gone on a bounty hunt themselves, haven't they? So they've gone in this bounty hunt. It seems like they've left on their own. They've actually not gone with like a crew that's from the park. Usually we see them kind of like recruited and go off together. But it's like they've done and gone their own thing. They can venture out like far and wide. Do you know what I mean? They can visit all aspects of the park. And pretty much they will be safe as well. You know, we are told that they can't die. And it's the first time I've actually seen some of them maybe be injured by some of the actions that have actually taken place. Like, one of them was shot and he was actually hurt, but he didn't actually bleed. And like his mate was saying, look, mate, you know, they got to put some sort of reality into it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be fun, it wouldn't be good if he was taking part in all these actions and all these fights, and you know, we didn't feel like there was some reality towards it. So I mean, I kind of get that, it makes sense, but I wonder how far, you know what I mean, like the pain could actually go. So they've gone into the trees and Dolores has ended up with them at the end. But I'm kind of thinking, me, that the guy with the blonde hair, you know, the one that's saying that he's got a girlfriend already kind of like back home, I'm interested with him. I don't know if he may like fall for her, but again, you know, the girl who works in the bar, pretty much, at the start of this episode, he saved her, didn't he? Pretty much, you know, a guy come in, he was trying to kidnap her, and he's gone over and shot him, and he's done it on his own. He's given that thrill, you know what I mean, that buzz to go on this mission himself. But as we see, mate, some of these missions are actually mad, because we've actually seen one of them in today's episode be given a backstory already. You know, all this time he was saying he's got something in his past that he's got to deal with first, but he never really, you know, had anything. They didn't really input that information until today. And you know, they put it in, they put the code in, and now he's got a full-on story. All the other characters quickly been integrated into it. So like, it's interesting to see how fast they can implement something in one of the characters, and all the others on the outside can kind of understand it. So it was called Wayne, I think, and he was saying that, look, you know, when he worked in the army or the military or something, like, he was his best friend, and you know, he come back and he pretty much killed everyone, and was saying that it was God or something that was telling him to do it, but he didn't actually kill his friend. You know, he's the only one that's actually survived him, and he's gone up into the trees to actually take him down, but he's encountered all of these people in masks who seem dead strong, and we didn't actually see what happened to him. Like, did that guy get killed or not? I'm assuming that he may have, because it's a game, but he did turn around and go bang, 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 and shoot them all, and none of them people actually dropped down. So it makes me think that maybe they was guests that was actually being like that. Do you know what I mean? That's an interesting thing to think about. But he was talking about, like I said, the higher power that was speaking to him in his head, telling him to do things, and he come in and shot them. And it was kind of similar situation to when obviously Ford was talking to Bernard when he was on that thing and he drew that pyramid, and he went through the things. And I think the top one that he left blank, they made a reference to that higher power voices in the head, they were saying, so to speak. He was saying that he wanted to kind of like create these two characters, one having the feelings or something, and then one being able to like decipher the voices inside of the head to try and give themselves their own subconscious. But like, the flip side of that is if they didn't actually manage to do that, then it was like somebody from a higher power, God, was telling them to do things which could drive them insane. I feel like that's what he was saying anyway. Like I said, certain situations kind of hard to follow. Other situations, it's just like, I wouldn't say easier, but it's more like, okay, if you do pay attention, you could just pick up on it and what they're trying to say. And sometimes they'll reference something like 10 minutes in the show, and then they'll try to play something off like 40 minutes in, and see if you could pick it up. Just like in terms of the fact that they were saying that only certain people can be coded to use a weapon, and then we seen her trying to use one and it didn't, and then we seen one again and it didn't, and then she seen him, and then, you know what I mean, the man in black, and then heard the voice, and then she could. Do you know what I'm saying? Again, those type of things are very intriguing to me, and I feel like Bernard is actually speaking to Dolores. Like I was saying, usually you see everybody naked. Do you even seen them reference it today? One guy was covered up, they pulled it off and said, look mate, they don't feel the cold, they don't feel nothing, they got no conscience, like, stop caring about their feelings. And like, she is always fully clothed talking to him, and I'm thinking that the reason that is because he's speaking to her on an intellectual level, like trying to, you know, figure out stuff, and he wants to see her as a person, because he wants to maybe see his son one day again as a person who's possibly died, and I feel like he's the one that's in the world. So that's what I'm thinking he's doing. Not because obviously like the way you know, everybody else is treated when they're naked, it's different to her. I feel like he wants to just see her as a physical person that he would see in the day-to-day normal world, and that's his interaction, and his whole focus is just to have that interesting conversation to see how her mind's working. That's why she's reading the books. That's my observation. I could be way off, but that's where we currently stand. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please smash a like, really helps out. Subscribe if you're new, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers guys.